Hi, my name's Ian, or Keith, or Grandad, or Dad, or Hubby, or that idiot. Alright, I've decided to do this video log for all sorts of reasons, and a lot of them will become clear the more that I do and the more that you watch. It's going to be a log to basically help people, hopefully, help the family understand, and it's a record for them to view whenever in the future. My intention is that I'm not going to use any fancy editing tools or anything like that, so it's all done in one, mistakes, warts and all, swearing, laughing, crying, whatever. And I'm thinking I'm going to call it My Life with My Prostate, which probably give you a few indications where it's heading, but and I've been sort of chewing over how to start all this and, what to do. And I'm going to try and keep it in sort of short sections. I'm not going to say part 1, part 2 and all that sort of thing, because I think it's a bit boring. So it's, if you want to sort of look back, you're going to have to just look at the date stamp on YouTube to see, which was the previous one, or subscribe. If you subscribe, then obviously you'll see the order in which I've posted them, and I'm intending to post them as regularly as possible. Initially, because I'm going to be talking a lot about the past, and they're going to be posted fairly quick, hopefully, to get it all up to date, or get you up to date. I'm hoping that with my experiences and what's happening and everything else, that you'll learn with that, you'll be with me, and you may be going through similar things. So we'll travel this journey together. That's my intention. Hopefully it works. As I said, I'm doing it without any special tools, any special camera. It's just a mobile phone. And I'm sat here in my living room. And as time goes on, you may see more and understand more. Apologies for the bad lighting from the side, but it's just a light up the side here that shines on the side. And it's early morning, so there's not much sunlight coming in, but it'll probably get, my face will be lit up a bit better as the sun shines. Hopefully it don't go on that long. Yeah, right, so let's start at the beginning. Once upon a time. No. It's not nursery, it's not a fairy tale or nursery rhyme. Not at all. Yeah, so I was born in 1954 in a South Yorkshire mining town. So you can probably tell by my accent, it's a Yorkshire accent, I know. So, but it's been moderated over the years because people couldn't understand me, so I've had to try and regulate it. Anyway, I was born to a school teacher, my father, and my mother, God rest her soul, she recently passed. Sorry. As I said, warts and all. yeah, she used to work in a local chemist shop. It was a family of 5 children, including myself. Sorry. Yeah, loving family, interesting times. So, life with my prostate. Yeah, so the reason I go right back to those days was that 1954, obviously things were just post-war, 9 years after the war ended. And I am a baby boomer because there was lots of children being born then. And you probably heard the term in the local news, or the local TV, or your TV I should say. Anyway, yeah, so the primary school I went to was, as I said, in the mining town, and it was an old sandstone, very robustly built building, blackened by smoke and industrial grime over the years, so it was all black. And it was 4 classes, starting from the youngest 5-year-old up to when you left at 11-year-old to go to secondary school or the grammar school. And the reason I'm mentioning it is that there weren't, not like modern schools where you've got lovely toilets and things. The toilet was outside in the playground, and I'm sure my siblings will remember it very well. Yeah, the toilets were outside in the playground. So if you're having a lesson during the morning and you got took short, you used to have to put your hand up and say, "Please, miss, can I go to the toilet?" Well, they were all misses, there weren't any mister or sir, please sirs. Yeah, so you used to have to trot out to this outside loo, which was up in the corner of the playground. And I remember it was obviously constructed so that you had privacy. And when you went in, there was a urinal, obviously the boys' urinal. And then there was some toilet compartments if you needed a number 2, as we used to say then. Yeah, and this is where it comes, is that, you know, when it was playtime, we all used to rush out the classroom, and the first thing that most of the boys used to do was go to the toilet because you were busting for a pee or you'd been holding it. And I guess my first memory of my prostate is I was about 8 or 9 year old, and all us boys would line up at the urinal there, and it was probably about, I don't know, 3-4 metres wide. And the contest was how high you could pee up the wall. So, and you got your name in the record book if you managed to pee over the wall, because this old black sandstone wall, and of course you got the normal white porcelain urinal, not the little bays like you get nowadays. It was just like a trough with a white porcelain back that came up to about 4 foot high. And I'm guessing the wall must have been about, well, it looked like about 10 foot high when I was that young, because I was only about 8 or 9. And although I was pretty tall, I was showing me height, and ended up being 6'4" and a bit, and shrunk a bit since then. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so all these lads used to stand there peeing, and you would try and squirt with your hose pipe as high as possible. And of course, you used to get the wet mark in front of you up the wall, and then you could compare with your mates either side and see what you'd achieved. And I found that by sort of really building pressure and releasing it and jumping at the same time. You'd get a little squirt that would go up higher than the rest. And a couple of times I managed it over the top. So it was a big achievement. But obviously you get older, you don't, such things don't interest you anymore. So that was the first, my first experience of my prostate. And I know it's not strictly your prostate that does that, it's your what they call it now, your pelvic floor. And your thing that controls urine flow from your bladder. Anyway, so the next thing and all these things will sort of come out in this vlog, video log, and it's the first one I've ever done. So I left grammar school early, didn't get on with grammar school. Primary school, great, loved it. No, grammar school, yeah, wasn't for me. So I was more than happy when I left at 15 and a half. But I was already sort of well maturing. I was, 6 foot odd by then. And I got a job in the local works. And it was a chemical works processing coal into coke, commonly known as a coking works. Or gas works, sometimes they were called, but basically producing coke for burning at home or producing steel. Yeah, so, and the reason I mention this is that there was, I think it was a 24-hour working, never stopped the plant, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So there was a there was 4 shifts of men. And I worked in the maintenance. I did my apprenticeship there. And in my particular maintenance department, there must have been 150 of us. So as a young lad, 50-and-a-half-year-old, of course it's a dirty, mucky industry. You used to have to get a wash at the end of the day, end of the shift, before you go home. And of course I was shy. Stupid, really. But of course, as I got through my apprenticeship, after about a year or so, I thought, well, I'm sick of going home dirty and having to get a wash at home. It's not fair on my parents taking the dirt home. So I thought, sod to this, I'm going to get a shower. So, and of course, it's the typical pithead bath showers. You've got masses of one big corridor, and then little corridors going off down these with all the lockers for your clothes, and it used to smell of sweat. And then you had a clean side and dirty side of those, so you basically put your clean clothes in one side in the morning, you basically stripped off naked, and then you walked round into the dirty side, put your work clothes on, and then went to work. And then at night, when you finish your shift, you went into the dirty side, took all your dirty clothes off, got your towel and your soap dish, and then you walk into the showers. And in the showers, it's a long room, and there's probably 4 banks of pipes overhead, and then there's all different showers and shower taps on the walls and things, and you could stand and get your shower. You had dry places to put your towel, hang your towel, and little things on the wall where you slotted your soap dish. Or your shower gel, as it eventually started to be, or, your shampoo. So anyway, I got used to the male human body at that point, and the differences in them, because there was fat, there was thin, there was small, there was large, there was African, there was Jamaican, you name it, they were there. And there was one noticeable guy, and he'd been an apprentice, so he was probably about 4 or 5 years older than me, So I guess he was in his early 20s. And his name, and I'm not going to mention names generally throughout these vlogs to protect people's, locations and things and privacies and whatever. But I've never met this guy since I left that job. And his name was Tim Bennett. And if people that are, used to work with me are watching this, they'll go, Timmy Bennett. Oh, Cocky Bennett. Oh dear. Because, most men would, when they took the mucky clothes off, they'd hold the towel and sort of cover the decency. So, and, you got a bare ass, but, you'd walk into the shower. And then when you chuck your towel over the wire to keep it dry and move to a shower cubicle, you could stand facing the wall if you're a bit embarrassed. But you still had your backside sticking out for everybody to see. And of course, I was only, a 16, 17-year-old, and all these old sort of fat men looking at me and thinking, I wish I were that young again and looking like that, admiring my body, I guess. And be fit, not fatigue, that's the wrong word, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. Because I'm, muscular and thin and not overweight and all the rest. Anyway, so Cocky Bennett, he was the one guy that never held his towel in front of him. He used to just hold it off, like a woman carries a handbag, because he was out and proud, and God knows what he was like when he got excited. But I'm telling you, I'm not a word of a lie. Cocky Bennett, when he was flaccid, it was to his knee. So anyway. Yeah, so that's the experience there. So yeah, so coming up 17 and a half minutes now. So I'm gonna. So effectively, I worked for that same company then until I left on voluntary redundancy. I think I was 48 when I left, but as a consequence, I moved. I became a professional engineer. I served my apprenticeship, became an engineer, got a substantive post in Coventry. So hello to any of the Coventry guys. And I was basically a guy responsible for 130 odd men. So you get all sorts of experiences then, different life problems and things, which all go to, contribute towards yourself. Eventually, that place closed, and now I went to work at the head office at Chesterfield. And this is where some of the, because I'm getting into my late 40s. I was probably 40-year-old then, I guess, because I was at head office for probably going about 7 or 8 years. So I was working on generating electricity from landfill, from gas. So I used to work, drive to places and work out on fields on my own and things, do what was necessary. And one of the experiences is that I was up near Manchester, at Warrington, gone up there in the morning because there was a delivery arriving. So the arrangement was I was due to meet this guy, this lorry, and, do whatever with whatever was on the back. I can't remember now, there was something being delivered. So, of course, this lorry pulls up at the appointed time. This guy jumps out, and I guess he must have been late 40s, early 50s. And of course I introduced myself and about to start saying, we need the stuff here and whatever. And he says, "Oh, hang on a minute. He says, before we do anything, he says, I've got to have a pee. He says, I'm busting. So he says, you have to excuse me. So he goes around the other side of the lorry and pees up his wheel, as lorry drivers do. And he comes back, he says, oh, thank God for that. He says, I've got this prostate problem. And he says, I've been to see my doctor. He says, and he's given me all examinations and that. He says, he's put me on these tablets. And he says, they're brilliant. He says, I can pee for England now. He says, it's fantastic. He says, I ain't got any problems anymore. He says, absolutely marvellous. So anyway, so I thought, interesting. I've not had that life experience yet, but I'm thinking, I'm beginning to notice that I'm not peeing like I used to. I can't pee over the school wall. So anyway, I thought, yeah, there's some, and of course it's coming up in the news about prostate cancers and men dying, and the most common male cancer and all the rest. So I thought, I need to educate myself a bit here. And I can't remember what it was. I think I was talking to somebody at work at the time, and he said, "Oh yeah. I've got a book. He says, I've read it all. He says, so I'll let you have it." I said, "Oh, great, fantastic." So anyway, he brought me this book. And, Julie gave it me, and it was about sort of half-inch thick. I guess about 100 pages, something like that. And it was an American-based book, that had written it. So it was a bit Americanised in terms of treatments and things. But obviously it was, I'm talking now, probably, it was probably written in the 70s, so it was pretty old school, old hat. But I had no idea what a prostate was. So I read all about it, and then of course it went on to describe the problem with male prostates, and then it went on to describe the normal medical treatments, examinations, symptoms, examination, treatment, and it went all through all the treatments and side effects, dry ejaculations, retrograde ejaculation. And hopefully these terms, if you don't already know, will become a little bit more, you'll become more aware of them as these vlogs go on. Vlogs, what a name. It should be Plog's prostate log. I'm a plugger. Anyway, got to laugh in life. Yeah, so as I said, I read the book. My next experience then was that, when was it now? Yeah, I'm married and 3 kids and, went through life. And I'm still married to the same person, coming up 45 years. More painful than the prostate. Anyway, hope she doesn't watch this. Yeah, so, what was I saying? Next experience. Oh, yeah, my brain. Yeah. Bloody hell. Oh dear, I forgot it. It comes with age, Yes, I told you about the lorry driver, the book. Oh yes, I know what it was. Yeah, so eventually I was starting to, we do a lot of caravanning and stuff them days, bit of motorhoming now. But basically, we were going down Spain. Well, we started off France and things, and it eventually, sort of pushed further afield and ended up down southern Spain. So I was taking longer, like 4-week holidays and things down there, and found a nice place, and eventually we've settled there. We've been going there for, half a year for the last 15 years. Well, actually it's longer, it's 17 or 18 years now, I think. Anyway. So you meet all sorts of people at these places, and, when you're caravanning, especially when you're down Spain, because, you get Finns, you get Swedes, you get Germans, you get French, you get Dutch, it's a whole range of people. Anyway, I can't remember how I met this guy. I think he must have parked opposite us or something. And anyway, we got friendly and introduced us to camembert cheese, because I love sort of blue cheese. And camembert cheese and a French stick, oh, lovely. Just smeared onto the, no, you put butter on, but, you can have it on the French stick and eat it. Oh, it's lush. So, anyway, and I'm not fat neither. So, this guy sits on the wall where I'm parked up on my plot, and we're just having a chit-chat, and he's got this tub of camembert, and he's got his French stick, and he's got a knife, and he's putting it on the thing and eating it, and I'm starting to say, and he says, I've just been up to the toilet. Oh, he says, I'm having all sorts of difficulty. He says, how the hell we got onto it, I don't know, but he says, I've hardly slept all night. He says, I've been up, down to the toilet, having to pee. So, and I says, funny you should mention that. I says, I've a few years ago, I read this book, it gave you a chapter and verse about, men's prostates. And I gave him a bit of sort of friendly advice, go and see your bloody doctor. Get it checked. It can be something a lot more sinister, But in most cases, it's just an ageing process with men, testosterone based. I says, but do go and get it checked. And this guy was from New Zealand. I think it was New Zealand, or it might have been Aussie. But he was basically, he says, I'm only here for another week or 10 days. He says, then I'm off to New Zealand, back to New Zealand. He says, I'm aiming to be there for a few years. He says, so when I go, I'll get it checked. So he thanked me. He says, thank you for your information. And I gave him tips like, don't, when it starts to reduce, just don't stop. Stand there and just let it drip. If that's all that's coming out, just let it keep dripping. Expel as much urine as you can. Don't rush it. Take your time, relax, be at ease. So, anyway. So, that takes us up to the point where it gives you the historical bits of what went off. And I think I'll close it there. But my next bit is where, I start to get myself checked. Take my own advice, in a sense. I hope you enjoy this. Please subscribe. I ain't got many subscribers. What is it they say? Click the bell so you get notified. And as I say, I might do another one in a couple of days and give you the next bit of the story as it progresses. So it's just about 30 minutes now. I think that's about enough. Hopefully, you see the sun's coming up now. You see that I'm getting a bit brighter on the face, and the sun's not as. So, yeah, I'm becoming a bright bugger. So, as I say. Oh, and the other thing I forgot to mention, Cocky Bennett. Cocky obviously relates to his appendage, but obviously in Yorkshire, when somebody's a bit sort of, swaggery, a bit of a bragger, thinks highly of himself, they say, oh, he's a bit cocky. So it had double meaning because Tim Bennett was cocky. And I think he was cocky because he knew what his manhood was like. He got good rights to be cocky. So, anyway, hope you've enjoyed it so far. Please tune in for the next one. Please subscribe. As I said, I haven't done many, so anyway, that's it for now. I'll get it posted and see how it goes. And love to hear any comments, and if any old friends see this, brilliant, let me know. I'll be watching. Cheers. That's Ian or Keith or Grandad or Dad signing off.